Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Santa Rita Union School District Board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. If we can start off with the pledge of, or do the roll call.
I'll skip you. Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye. Okay, can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we're going to move on to item 1.3, the administer the oath of office. The following trustees were elected or re-elected as part of the governing board for the Santa Rita Union School District. We have Cindy Lopez, Alvariano, and myself, Jacob Sandoval. There's your hands.
Nurse.
You can do Aldo's first or Cindy's first? Okay. You want to come up, Cindy?
Thank you, President Sandoval. First, we are swearing in our new board member, Cindy Lopez, and helping to administer her mother's oath of office on my behalf is Sandra Gallegos. I'll be holding the microphone for them.
I, Cindy Lopez, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the State of California, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
If you work, Cindy? If you want to go.
Hi, my name is Cindy Lopez, and I am trustee area number 2 for the board of Santa Rita, and I am actually I was a student here from first grade all the way to junior high. So I attended Santa Rita Elementary and Gavilan View Middle School, and then went off to Everett Alvarez High School. Graduated, went to Cornell, CSUMB, and I am currently a office manager for a dental group. So I am pleased, excited to be on this board, and have a child that attends this school, and I have just had another one. She'll turn 1 next week, actually. So I am a parent as well, and I look forward to helping our district make more improvements that have already been taken in place and be part of that. So thank you.
Ms. Alvariano.
He doesn't need the paper. He says something else.
Becky's going to hold the mic for us. If you raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, Elva Arellano,
I, Elva Arellano,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that will bear true faith
that will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the state of California,
and the state of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
of about which I'm about to enter.
Good. How do you want to be?
I'm, as you all know, I'm Melva Ariano, and I've been in this district for 44 years. I have started my career as a teacher. Have my 4 children, my grown children are, they graduated and they not graduate, I guess you promotion. They all went to this school, to this district. And now I have 7 grandchildren who are currently going to be going to this district. 2 of them already started this year. And then again, I'm a lifelong learner. I have started my career after I raised my 4 children. And so I loved education. I loved teaching. I loved going to school. So as a result, I got my AA, my BA, my 2 masters, my doctorate. I also have a credential in administration and in special ed. And I just love being in this district, and I love the children and the parents and everybody that helps out with all of our children. So.
Now we'll be administering the oath of office for Jacob Sandoval, and joining us is Salinas City Council member Andrew Sandoval, who will be administering the oath of office for his brother.
Get those. Well, before I administer the oath, I'd like to say it's an honor to be able to be swearing in my brother. My parents are here joining us. So my dad's holding my mom Lisa, so it's a very exciting time. I think my brother is probably one of, not just because he's my brother, but in public service that probably does the most research, the most reading, and the most follow-up. So I'm very proud of him. So it's my honor to be swearing him in. So please raise your right hand. I, Jacob Sandoval,
I, Jacob Sandoval,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend the Constitution
I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the State of California,
and the State of California,
and that I take this obligation freely
and I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
I'm about to enter. Well, I just want to say thank you and gracias pa por venir hoy, and our mom as well. Sorry, I always get a little bit emotional when I talk about my dad. So I grew up in Santa Rita District as well, starting from 2nd grade. I went to Gavilan View Middle School. I'm a local business owner, but I'm proud to say that I went to public schools. And for that reason, I want to make our public schools better so everybody has a quality education. I'm super blessed to be able to be part of this board along with our fellow board members to make a difference in our community. And I'm excited for what's to come in the years to come. So just thank you.
Change to that one.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 1.4 and do roll call with our full board.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
All members present.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to move on to item 1.5, approval of the board agenda. If I can please get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, move on to annual organization meeting, 2.1, election of president. I'm going to start by temporarily appointing the secretary of the board, the superintendent, as moderator of the meeting for the purpose of conducting the elections of officers.
Thank you, Mr. Sandoval. May I have nominations for the office of president of the board?
I would like to nominate Jacob Sandoval.
I second.
Are there any other nominations?
Before we vote, can we get a little comment in here?
Of course.
I've been part of this board for, I don't know, for so long, but I haven't seen a better person run meetings, do their due diligence, and provide timely information to all board members as Jacob Sandoval has. We have great experience on this board. I appreciate you, and let's just keep a good thing going. So thank you for hopefully accepting the nomination.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take roll call now. Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, and I turn it back over to you, Mr. Sandoval.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your trusting me with your confidence for another year. I deeply appreciate it. At this point, we're moving on to item 2.2, election of the vice president / clerk. If we have any nominations, please.
I would hopefully ask Elva Ariano to consider. I think it's time. I like rotations if possible, but as long as Sarah's not upset.
Oh, no, not at all.
I will.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? No. Okay, at this time, can we do roll call, please?
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, congratulations, Ella.
I'm not sure whether I'll be able to follow your lead.
Okay, at this point, we're going to move on to item 2.3, which is appoint superintendent as a secretary to the Board of Education. If I can please get a motion as stated there.
I make a motion to appoint superintendent is that the one? Secretary to the Board of Education.
I second.
Roll call.
Thank you. Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to 2.4, setting the time and day of the regular meetings. So
Mr. President, we currently have our meetings scheduled to begin at 5 on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month.
Okay, if I can please get a motion to,
I totally support that, but maybe once a month, Las Vegas, Reno, something, No, then motion to accept.
okay, to the second and
Yes.
fourth, okay. May I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, now roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 2.5, board representation assignments. At least for myself, I do want to be part of the district facilities committee. Is there another board member who would like to do the district facilities?
Yes, I would like to continue.
Okay. District board policies, I would also like to be on that committee. So is there another board member who would like to join me? Cindy, would you like to give it a shot? No, that's okay. You're not ready. Okay. Does anybody else like to be on that committee with myself?
Which committee is that?
That's the board policy committee. I can do it solo. It's okay. Nobody wants to jump to it. Okay. We'll keep it open. If anybody wants to join me later, then that's okay as well.
Perfect.
So district behavior task force.
I want to be part of that one, but is the
Change that.
behavior task force and the district school climate?
It is.
it
I'm
the
sorry,
same
that's a
thing?
clerical error in parentheses there for the School Climate Collaborative. You can see that it combines the Behavior Task Force and the Equity and Inclusion Coalition that we had. Sorry.
Okay, so it's just that one. Okay, that's to be part of. Do the work of. Exactly.
Is there another board member who'd like to be part of that committee as well?
Yeah, I would like to join that.
So Cindy will put you that one. District Curriculum Council,
I will continue.
Sarah. Is there anybody who wants to be part of that committee with her? You'll be solo for now. District Safety Committee, and I believe this is a new committee that we just established. I know we just did a safety plan. So if we can get two potentially board members who'd like to be part of that one.
Oh, love to be, yeah.
Okay. Neil. And does anybody else like to be part of that committee?
I'll join.
Okay, so Cindy, great, thank you. Okay. Monterey County School Boards Association.
I'd like to continue there.
Okay. And Community Human Service GPA Board. So Summer, can you explain a little bit about that board?
Yes, so a few months ago, we put forward to you to join the JPA with Community Human Services. The board meets once a month to just kind of review the programs and services as well as some of the fiscals with the Community Human Services. Really, you're really there to share information about our district and to bring back information for our district. It's a once a month virtual meeting.
Okay.
I can be primary, I'll be there. It's really somebody to be an alternate as well.
Okay, I can be the alternate. If I can please get a motion to approve the board assignments so we can do it as a board.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
I second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Okay.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to 2.6, approve resolution 22.12.29, designated authorized agents in the attachment. If I can please get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Okay.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, item 2.7 is approve authorizations. As part of the attachment, the following signature authorizations are done annually. They are consistent with job description, state law, board policy, and responsibilities by prior actions. If I can please get a motion.
I motion.
Okay,
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Okay.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now congratulations to everybody who got sworn in today and the members. We're going to take a brief recess just to allow people to take pictures and mingle with their family, get to meet Cindy. So if I can please get a motion to adjourn for a 15 to 20-minute recess.
I motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye. Okay.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Please enjoy some refreshments provided by our Director of Nutritional Services and his wonderful staff.
Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome everybody back. We're going to move on to, well, today on closed session items, we have item 4.1, conference with legal counsel regarding potential litigation under Government Code 54956.9. We also have item 4.2, public employee appointment/employment/dismissal under Government Code Section 54957. Do we have any public comments regarding closed session items only?
No, we do not.
Okay, if I can please get a motion to adjourn to closed session.
Motion to adjourn to closed session?
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Second.
A roll call.
Ms. Cindy Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Catherine.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we'll see everybody after closed session. Okay, welcome back, everybody. When we're coming back into open session. During closed session, the board denied a request for an extension of unpaid leave of absence for employee number 160413. The vote was 5-0. Okay, moving on to approval of consent agenda 7.1. If I can please get a motion to approve items 7.2 to 7.6.
So motion?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Cindy Lopez. Aye. Mr. Neil Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Miss Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Correspondence. One, is anybody here from the SRTA? Is there any public comments from SRTA submitted? Oh, sorry. Okay.
There we go. All right. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. We're almost there. So I want to give an update from SRTA. We want to say thank you to the board for their willingness to listen to our concerns and having an open communication with us. We really appreciate it. Our staff is really ready for winter break, as I'm sure you all are as well. They're looking forward to being with their families and relaxing at home. The school year has been very difficult for everybody. Our teachers are really overwhelmed and overworked, especially with abhorrent and upsetting behavior at our school sites. It's really taken a toll on our staff, and we're really very concerned about teacher burnout and teacher retention due to the increase of severe behaviors at every school site. Teacher morale at school sites is also low, which is very concerning for the union and very concerning for the district as well. Many teachers are losing their passion for this job due to the behaviors from the students and what we're seeing. Our teachers really, really care and love our students deeply. Our main concern is making sure teachers and students feel safe and supported at school. We're hoping to work more closely with the district on providing help and support to teachers, improving student behaviors, and coming up with a more sustainable action plan with consequences for behaviors so teachers can feel more supported in their classroom. And we're hoping to have that conversation soon. That's it from SRTA. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And your name, please?
That's right. I forgot that. Now my new name is Ashley Alizade. I changed it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to 8.2, CSEA.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juana Casillas, and I'm the CSCA chapter president. We recently had our elections a couple of weeks ago, and I'd like to introduce our new executive officers for 2023. I'm happy to announce that I will be continuing to be president for 2023. And we have Mr. Robert Rodriguez, who will be our vice president. And we also have Secretary Nelly Alvarez from John Gutierrez, and Treasurer Maricela Landazuri from Magabalan View now. She's now with us here. And we have a new officer, communications officers, which will be Evelyn Belado, who's here tonight with us. So we are excited to go ahead and start the year 2023. And also tonight, we have a few items on the agenda tonight, and we're hoping that our board members will vote in favor, yes, to approve it. We are still short a couple paras in some of our school sites, 8 paraprofessionals and gen ed, and 6 in the special education department, as well as a few bus drivers. So those items are on the agenda. We are hoping that we get approval for our salary increase and a couple other items that are there. We met with Becky and work very side by side together. We want to thank also our superintendent, Melissa, for always supporting us as well too. And we're just excited. So we're hoping that we will get an approval tonight for the items of the agenda. We are also excited to go ahead and, for those of us who are 10 months, get our break. It's well deserved. We're looking forward to that. So this will be our last week. And with that being said, we would like to wish you all a happy, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Juana, and congratulations to your new officers and you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start off with 8.3 Superintendent's Cabinet. We're going to start off with Director of Parent, Family, Community Engagement, Dr. Summer Prather-Smith.
Hello, I have a short presentation from Care Solace. She's going to come in right now, which is one of our items on our agenda tonight. She'll do a brief. Hi, Janine, we're here.
Muted. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Pleasure to be here, Superintendent Alderman, President Sandoval, and members of the board. Thank you again for having me. My intention is just to take just a few moments to provide you with kind of a high-level brief overview of the Care Solace service and what we're going to be providing to the school community of Santa Rita Union. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I just have a few slides to walk you through to kind of share the service and provide you with that introduction to what Care Solace is really all about. So Care Solace is a care navigation. We provide care coordination for mental health and substance use providers in the community. We really are a company on a mental health care mission. We just want to provide families with a hand to hold and really be their champion, be their advocate in the process when they're trying to navigate the mental health care system, which if any of you have ever tried to do it, it's very, very difficult for families, presents a lot of barriers, and really makes it very difficult ultimately for them to get connected. So we just want to make sure that when families do need care, they actually do need get connected to that care. Care Solace serves in 32 states, over 600 school districts. We have touched over 15 million individuals, students, family members, staff members since 2017. Now, our ultimate goal is, like I said, to connect families to services no matter their circumstances. So helping families tackle the barriers when it comes to navigating insurance, navigating long wait times, finding families matches to providers who speak their preferred language. And those types of things as well are things that we are able to do with our service. The long wait times, I'm going to address that really briefly. Now, our goal is to connect families to services within days and get them enrolled into care within 1 to 2 weeks. The typical wait time right now on average is 3 weeks to 3 months. So Care Solace is very much about finding timely care for families, so that they're not waiting and so that they ultimately do not give up on the process. And of course, like I mentioned, insurance being one of the biggest barriers for families will help with that piece of the puzzle too, providing them verification of providers that take their insurance, or if they don't have insurance, making sure that we're connecting them to free and sliding scale services. So typically when we work with a family, it takes 50 to 60 phone calls on average to find providers that have availability. And again, statistics show that families often give up. So we really are here to take that heavy lift and that burden off of families to, again, make sure that the legwork gets done, making it easy for them to get enrolled into those appointments. And again, we typically match families to providers within days, usually 5 days or less. Our average is 3 to 4 days to find matches for families. We have 3 main components to our service. One is an anonymous confidential portal that's called Care Match. We're providing your district with a customized URL link that families will be able to access on their own if they choose that confidential route, to give them a starting space where they can actually specify through answering a series of questions their location and their insurance and their needs and what type of treatment they're looking for. And our matching service will find providers for them within the community, anonymously and confidentially. The warm handoff is an internal process that your counseling team, your mental health care team will be able to access through a dashboard that will provide training on for your mental health care teams. And they will be able to refer families to the care companion team, who are truly the heart and soul of what we do. The care companion team is our 24/7 care coordination team. We speak over 200 languages at Care Solace, and they are the folks that walk families through that whole process, verifying insurance, making all of the calls it takes to find availability, and helping families book those appointments ultimately. So this is just a really quick peek at what that anonymous tool looks like. Again, it's a series of pre-screened questions that families can navigate on their own, and it will provide those families with a list of local providers that they can either call themselves or have the care companions call on their behalf to make sure that we line them up with available appointments and providers. This is a peek at what that dashboard tool is going to look like, that your internal staff will be able to use, your counselors and social workers and psychologists will be able to use to refer families to the care companion team when they have students that need wraparound supports and a community resource, so that we can take on the heavy lift and do the work of coordinating the care on behalf of your mental health care team, while they have visibility and transparency into exactly everything that's happening, so that they do indeed know and have verification that a family got connected. Now, you as board and administrators will be provided with impact reports. We provide monthly utilization and impact reports for you to review. And of course, every quarter and every year, you would receive these as well. And this is just going to reflect the families, the numbers of families that we've helped, how many communications we've saved internal staff in making phone calls and coordinating care for them. And then it reflects information on your demographics, your DSM-5 category needs, so you can really understand the needs of your district, top 10 insurances, and top 10 providers that provide timely access to your families within your community. And again, this is rolled up in a monthly report for you to have access to at any time. So just some of the benefits as an overview to kind of sum it up. This really is about providing equitable access to care, whether families have insurance, whether they don't, providing sliding scale options for those who don't. It is a community service. So this does obviously provide services for your students, but also all of your students' family members are involved or are covered in the service, all of the staff for a staff wellness component, and all staff family members are also included in the Care Solace service. So it really is providing this for your entire school community. And that's really that in a very short nutshell. I didn't want to take much of your time, but I wanted to provide you with at least an overview of the service. I don't know if anybody has questions. I'm happy to answer any, but we're very, very excited to partner with you all and to serve your school community, and appreciate the opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Janine. I'll open if there's
Any questions or comments from the board?
I have one. What percentage roughly would you say is done in person within our community in terms of the matching? Couple of things I noticed was, I totally agree with the idea that it takes 60 calls, and I think a lot of parents get frustrated after the third or fourth call, and then they give up. So I appreciate the tenacity as far as what you guys are doing. But yeah, what percentage would you say is in person within our community, limits in terms of 10, 20 miles or so?
Yeah, that is a great question. So across the board, I can tell you nationally, our statistics, about 90% of the matches that we do with providers and appointments that we enroll families into are in person. Most folks do prefer in person. And we also know that for ages 3 to 11, those elementary age groups, telehealth is not really even a viable option due to the age, and that it just doesn't work. It's shown not to work. So anybody we're serving, any families we're serving with those younger age groups, we are always matching for in-person appointments. So while we do offer the ability to connect with telehealth, if a family prefers it, or if that's what they request, we're happy to find telehealth providers. The huge majority of what we match are for in-person appointments.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
And I'll just add that the Care Solace contract is coming forward because we know that one of our biggest challenges is, as students have brought forward and a mental health need has been identified, having families connect has been a real challenge. So to really put that support into place, as you heard, not just for our students, but for staff as well. It's great if you're parents, and trying to make that resource. So this is another resource available through our process where a referral can be made into Care Solace, and that connection can be made in a meaningful way, and we can monitor it.
Awesome, thank you. That's it for your report, Summer? Yeah, okay. Miss Summer, you usually have a long list. That's why I was like, okay. Okay, moving on to Director of MOTF, Mr. Victor Sandoval.
Yes, good evening.
Did you have a question, Neil, or?
The fact that he's here in person and he's been released from the dungeon over there, the Dragon's Lair. So I just want to say personally, it's really good to see you in person, brother.
Appreciate it. Likewise. I don't have very much to say. I'm just, going to announce that we're going to be having our facilities committee meeting tomorrow. So thank you very much. And I got a few items later on today.
What time is that meeting tomorrow? Yeah. I'm just gonna set a quick reminder for that.
Have it open. I wasn't ready for that question.
You said 4?
Yeah, we're
Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. So I make sure. Okay. Moving on to Director of Nutritional Services, Mr. Chuck Helm. Is that what it said? Okay. Chief Business Officer, Ms. Rosa Zumudio. No, it's not.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah. Good evening. So I've been working on the first interim budget report, which I have on the next following up with the board agenda item. So I'll go ahead and save my time for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director of Special Education and Student Services, Ms. Melanie Grundy.
Perfect. Good evening. I'll keep mine short and sweet too. So we were able to get our all SPED team, including teachers and service providers, together today and have a little fun. So we did a little holiday celebration and just really an opportunity to appreciate all the heavy lifting they've been doing. We really just hung out, drank some hot cocoa. I did an activity, a lesson around cookie making and rubrics. So it was a little bit of education in there, but it was just nice to get us together and just really take a minute to reflect on all the great work that the team has been doing, and, kind of doing some forward thinking too, but just really taking a minute to take a breath. So that was nice to celebrate them. And then the only other piece that I'll update is just very excited to be taking a team of administrators as well as myself to the Every Child Count Symposium coming up here really quick, January 11th through the 13th. And it's a conference really focused on special education, SST process, and the multi-tiered systems of support, so MTSS. Just very excited to to go to that conference. It's been a few years with COVID, so it's back up and going, and just excited to network and just continue to grow our capacity as a team. So very excited about that. That's it for me.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you for the update. Moving on to Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Donna Coney.
Does this one? Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and happy holidays to you all. We are finishing up our iReady benchmark for the winter benchmark and excited to start seeing some results out of that to show what those growth goals and accomplishments look like in January as we analyze them in the next coming weeks.
Okay, so in January, we should have kind of some of those numbers to kind of see what's...
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Any questions or comments from the board? No. Okay, thank you for the update. Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource, Ms. Becky Moore.
Thank you. Just a couple of items. I am preparing some professional development for our principals around some HR topics coming up in January and February. And also some updates on COVID. The governor has announced that the end of the state of emergency is expected February 28th, and we have some an assembly bill going out at the end of this month, as well as a Senate bill. So there will be no more COVID leave after December 31st. As far as we know, that will expire. The notices for potential exposure notifications, that bill expires at the end of this month. So those will no longer be required. And our COVID testing clinics have been receiving very few participants, mainly staff. So those will be available by appointment at the district office with Celeste, but the clinics will no longer be held. Families can still receive home kits to test their students.
Okay, and I know it's expiring this year. Does that mean that if they don't use it or it's not used, and
then they lose it?
Lose it, type of thing. Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? No.
I have a question. So if the child does test positive for COVID and whatnot, are we still following same protocols with everything?
So we would notify the close contacts and the class still, but the Cal OSHA notice that goes to a whole site, if one positive person has been on a school site, will no longer be required.
Okay.
The quarantine stays the same. Summer is whispering in my ear to make sure that's clear to everybody. Quarantine remains the same.
Thank you.
Okay. Actually, there's another question I was remembering right now. I know you mentioned the professional development for the principals. You know, the coaching is going. I know that was something new that was done this year for the principals.
So with that coaching, because we wanted it similarly to teachers to not be evaluative, we're not receiving any direct feedback from the coaches, but have received very positive feedback from the principals, feeling like they have somebody that they can reach out to when they just need someone to think through a problem with them or help them, you know, through certain situations. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And now we move on to the board and the superintendent. We'll start off with Miss Cindy Lopez. So usually what will happen is you kind of give an update of whatever, you know, you've been working on, or if you talk to the parents or anybody else kind of in general and stuff. But.
Well, I actually did attend 2 weeks ago Cafecito here at GV, and it was a great turnout actually. You know, we did have about maybe a total of, I want to say 12 parents and a few kids joined that night. And it was a great topic about children going into winter, you know, depression and how to, you know, all of that good stuff. And so it was really good. And, you know, hopefully sending out all of these emails and whatnot, we could get more parents involved and children and whatnot to bring out to the schools and have them involved and, you know, see a difference in that. So that's something I did before I got sworn in tonight. And then tomorrow we actually have something going on as well here at GV with the ribbon cutting ceremony. So that's something that hopefully I get to be part of.
Okay. Is that happening at 4, I believe?
Yeah.
Is that the same time as the facilities meeting in a way?
It's showing up as 4:15 on my calendar, which is during the facilities committee meeting.
Okay. And the facilities committee meeting will take place online or in person? In person. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll walk over there. I was hoping to make the other one too, but maybe we'll walk over to it as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Neil Patel?
The closing up this semester, I've talked to quite a few parents and teachers, especially in the last 2-3 weeks in our district, as well as the district I work for as well. And, I've been mentioning it meeting after meeting, but these have been exceptional years. This year I think has probably been the toughest as a teacher. The amount of damage that has been created due to various effects, especially from COVID and, not being around teachers as great mentors for 2 years and being left to their own devices at home, and certain issues that are going on in, individual homes that, require a lot of help. And, it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I'm looking forward to winter break. I hope all teachers, I'm sure that's vitally needed if in any year. It's time to, I don't know, just to get our thoughts together and focus on the whole purpose of teaching. These are, like I said, exceptional times. The number of students that are acting out, parents not having follow through or proper guidance or not knowing what to do, restrictions placed upon what we can and cannot do with students based on state and federal laws. The demands are incredible, incredible. I myself am very frustrated. I'm just hoping that this trend that has been peaking in this last year, of course, goes down. I hope all the things that we're trying to do with mental health, behavioral health, with counseling, with restorative justice, all these things take time to implement, as well to see the positive effects of. And unfortunately, it's very frustrating to have to wait and have, I want immediate solutions. I want immediate resolutions. And I think as a teacher, it's been very frustrating because, it's hard because of all the other pressures of having to perform and, achieve standards in teaching that, my heart and soul goes out to all the fellow teachers out there and anyone in education, but at all different levels. These are unprecedented times. So all I can say is, I'm here day by day with all the other teachers and staff, and we're going to continue to fight, through thick and thin. And hopefully voices get heard. Hopefully programs get implemented. Hopefully we get great results. But once again, it's hope. It's hope. And so, I honestly considered retiring this year. I really did, after 22 years of teaching. But at the same time, I don't want to give up, so I'm going to give another couple of years and hopefully, things change. But the last thing I wanted to mention, this is not a local issue. When I talk to teachers at our sites, when I talk to teachers at other district sites, when I talk to some people, other teachers I know in other states, it's a common problem. It's being faced throughout the nation. And so I'm not saying that gives me any type of, comfort, but it does let me know that this problem is way bigger than us locally, and so whatever we're trying to do here locally to address our needs, all hands on deck for it, so, I'm going to keep on hoping, keep on trying, keep on showing up day by day. We can't give up on the kids. We can't give up on our community. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Alvariano?
Yes, on a happier note, I attended the McKinnon School Kinder and TK Christmas singing performance. And it was so fun to watch those little kids and the little faces and their little hand gestures and the singing. And it was really nice. You could tell that after 2 years of not having these performances, that these kids really embraced it. And so did the teachers. And a shout out or a thank you to the music teacher, but I can't remember his name. But anyway, thank you to him and to the teachers who guided the children through the whole process. I also enjoyed an evening with the Gavilan View Middle School Christmas music performance. Like I said, after 2 years of not having the performances, it was really neat to see the kids. They were just, Donna was there, and it was nice. I did miss the JG one, but this one was really good. There were a lot of talented musicians. The kids really performed well. We even had a little choir. Well, it was a singing choir, and I even joined in with all the festivities. And I also enjoyed seeing Santa Claus. The siblings of all the kids, the students, they were just excited over seeing Santa Claus. And a shout out to Diane Galing for her wonderful work with these students. That's just one thing our district has not given up, is the music part and the art part, which a lot of other districts did. And so we still have all that. I also attended the school climate, and I have some notes here. I also attended the school climate collaborative kickoff meeting on Zoom with Summer, and there were other district leaders, and the presenters were Jenny Betts and Lynn Nguyen, I think is her name, and from West Ed. That was on December 9th, along with all the other leaders in the district. So the overview of this school climate collaborative is what we will be doing in a nutshell is prioritizing equity and inclusion, cultivate student voice and leadership, which, you know, we already do that here. But this is just some other means of trying to see what we could do better or what else we could add without having to open up. We're just going to use what we have now. And I really did enjoy the overview, and it kind of gave me a view of what we're going to do for the whole year. So we're going to have monthly meetings, and I hope to attend and be a part of it and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. And also thank you for representing the board there and showing our commitment for that as well. So I was able to attend a basketball game at John Gutierrez and also the winter concert. And I think how the rest of the board feels, it's really good. I know they're talking about how the COVID emergency from the state is going to end. And I remember when we had the meeting where we had to shut down the schools and go to distance learning. And so it's really great to kind of see things kind of coming back, you know, a little bit to normal, you know, because I know a lot of the students have really missed out on quite a bit of, and it's going to be, I almost feel like a very tough generation as they become adults, as far as how that's going to impact them. Because I know a lot of stuff that I went through when I was a youngster, and how I think about it as an adult. So I also attended the winter concert at John Gutierrez. It was great to see the instruments, and the parents really support the students. At one point, there was one student that was doing a solo, and she was getting a little frustrated and stuff, but the audience kind of motivated her. And I think that's kind of the importance of community, is how we kind of support each other, support the students. And because at the end of the day, those students is kind of how it's happened with Cindy and myself and other people, is like, eventually they're going to have a lot of these roles as potentially teachers and principals and school board members and stuff. So I think this is a critical role we play here as either teachers or directors and whatnot to go there and stuff. I did get a chance to speak to a couple of teachers, and I hear the frustrations as far as the behavioral stuff and the challenges and the lack of support. So I do hear you, and we've had conversations with the district, and we're going to try to work on solutions to try to figure out a way to kind of provide that more of that support and see how we can kind of work together, because at the end of the line, teachers are the front lines for our students. And I will be attending also the mural. Well, we get a little break in between to walk over for that as well. And that's all I have to report for now. Superintendent Alderman?
Thank you. It's been a busy week, which always happens the week before we go on a long holiday break, right? Sliding into home base as we head into Friday. Looking forward to our facilities meeting. We have some additional smaller projects that we want to bring forward to the facilities committee to consider adding to our plan. We're going to go over our final version of our ed specs report before we bring that to you for review and approval in January. The ed spec report is important for funding, for building new schools. And so it's one of those requirement documents that is a wonderful read. And a lot of technical information, but it's really lays out what all needs to be there in place for us to receive future funding, and looking into that as we are poised to grow. And I want to mention that we had our training of trainers for our student safety module today. We were actually the first district that Kimball and Associates shared that training with. So we had 2 people, a minimum of 2 from each school site. And thank you, Summer, for putting that together, and different district directors who went and manned other positions so that we could get principals and assistant principals here today. And so it was really great to see the ways that they're going to break that down for us, that we've got information to share out with our parents ahead of rolling out a student module, and ways to help teachers ease into that instructional piece with their students. So seeing the ways that it's clearly laid out for our teachers to be able to take students through something that could be a very difficult topic, but the way that they have made that digestible for primary grade students, upper elementary, middle school students, and we even got to see some of the high school students, and what they'll be working with, different video series and getting all that put in place. And so really thank Summer for that. I also want to thank Summer and Blanca Valverde for giving us a new habit for the holidays for our cabinet team. So we made a conscious decision this year not to get each other gifts for the holidays, and instead to adopt a family in need. And so that's what each of our cabinet members did. And I really want to thank Blanca Valverde for finding our families, getting sizes, and all those things that they might need to help us support some of our greatest needs in our district.
Any comments or questions from the board? I just want to say that's a great new habit to take place. So thank you for the board of thinking about our families as well. Okay, now we on to 9.1, public comments regarding non-agenda items.
Yes, we have one.
Okay, and I did let Amy know. I think at a prior meeting we had said that the public comments were going to be 2 minutes, which has it on our cover page, but I let her know that it still shows 3 minutes for whatever reason. Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
Dear board members, I have taught at Santa Rita Union School District for many years, and I have always considered my workplace like a second family. During the many years that I've taught in our district, I felt very cared for and supported by the district and administration, which was different from other experiences I've had. Unfortunately, over the past 2 years, I've seen a drastic change in our district, and not for the better. The new behavior management system that the district is trying to implement has created discourse throughout all the school sites, as student behavior is completely out of control. We have students being blatantly disrespectful and defiant towards teachers with zero administrative assistance. Teachers are being blamed for a student's misbehavior from our administration, as they are told that the behavior exhibited by the student is because the teachers need a stronger bond with the student. The behavior of our students is so out of control that they have started stealing personal property from teachers, since they know that the school will have zero punishment for them. During the implementation of restorative justice, the district has completely dropped the ball with providing a safe environment for both teachers and students. It is to the point where we have students telling us that they shouldn't even bother reporting bullying or other disrespectful behavior, since those students will simply apologize and be back doing it again tomorrow. The district and our administrators are so focused on not suspending students that they are jeopardizing the safety of the victims. While I understand the importance of restorative justice, you can't just not provide consequences to students for completely inappropriate behavior. Telling teachers to have a restorative circle will not solve the problem. We don't need to be trained for the 10th time on restorative circles. We need to come up with a list of appropriate consequences with a restorative piece attached to it. The district seems more interested in not suspending students than supporting their staff and students. An example of this thinking comes from an email sent to the staff at one of the elementary schools after a teacher's belongings were stolen. Moving forward, this is a quote. Moving forward, it is important that we emphasize our work as a school community on restorative practices, building positive relationships, and teaching explicit positive behaviors. Our next steps will include ongoing professional development and coaching support around restorative practices, including community circles, effective statements, and effective use of respect agreements. And that's the end of the quote. All this tells teachers is that we are responsible for the act of a student stealing personal property. This email blames student behavior on the teacher once again. All this says is that our relationship isn't strong enough with the students, and therefore they are misbehaving. Where is the support for your staff after a student stole a teacher's personal property? We have been trained on all these practices many times, and not once have they been able to tell us what consequences can be used in a restorative way. The district should be extremely concerned about retaining teachers after this year. Unfortunately, due to the lack of support I have received from administration and the district, I will not be returning to the district next year. Many others are also leaving due to the working conditions that we are dealing with. This breaks my heart because I really thought I would retire in this district, but the way we are treated is absolutely deplorable. Board members, I am asking you to really pay attention to what the district is doing and step in. The district will be losing many teachers this year, and student safety is at risk in our schools. Please help support the teachers and the students. We are begging you.
Okay, thank you. And the name of the teacher, or what school site are they from?
This is anonymous.
Oh, it's anonymous. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a district email and there's no name attached.
Okay, thank you. And then add a clarifying question. I know part of restorative justice is being done to the behavioral task force as well. Do we currently have teachers who are also part of that discussion? I just want to make sure they're.
Yes, our union president was present.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Our teachers.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, is there any public comments regarding agenda items?
No, there's not.
Okay. Can we move on to item 10.1, approval of AB 1200, public disclosure for classified CSEA?
Yes, that is my item. This is the AB 1200 that we're required to fill out and submit to Monterey County Office of Education for review and approval. It is for agreement and negotiations through classified SCEA, and there are 4 items listed there. I'm not gonna read every item, but you can see that there's a total dollar amount in there. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations, yeah. Moving on to 10.2, approval of agreement for bond and disclosure council services by and between Santa Rita Union School District and Lozano Smith LLP.
Yes, that's my item as well, and the contract is attached as well. This is for the bond, the process for the bond sales and the process for legal support to the district. This is not included in the budget. This is something that can be reimbursed from the bond sale in the future.
Okay, and this is all revolving around measure or that was passed? Correct?
Yes, correct.
Just for the public. Okay.
Well, I hope I can say this for the board. I just want to thank all of our voters out there who did approve this bond. It's only through your support that we're able to make these vitally needed improvements. With that, motion to approve.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, everybody. Moving on to 10.3, the fun stuff. Approval of the first interim budget report for the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, so I did leave a PowerPoint presentation, a copy of the PowerPoint. I do have my budget assumptions, which comes from school services. It talks about the COLA and planning factors. And also I have a list, I know it's really hard to see, but this is the list of the one-time funds. As you can see, they all have different dates and different regulations. Some of them are already spent out and some of them we still have a few more years to spend out. And all of this, as you can see, are part of the big report. I know it's like over 100 pages, so I'll try my best to summarize everything for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. Oh, there you go. Okay, so these are the highlights for the presentation. These are the most important items that you're gonna see moving forward during my presentation. So I'll go ahead and talk more in detail, but you have it here. If you go through something and you're like, why is this number so big or why is this big change, you can reference back to this page, and this is pretty much the most significant changes. I'm not gonna go into very detail on everything, but I'm gonna go ahead and highlight these big changes because it does affect our revenues and expenses. So going to my next
And really quick, Rosa, Cindy, in case you have questions along the way and you need her to go back to a slide or something, feel free to kind of ask and stuff.
Yes, please do so. So this is just a graph that you can see. One of the big changes, like I referenced on the first page, is talking about the COLA. So during my July 1st budget, we had the 6.56 COLA, and that was based on the May revised budget. And then after the state adopted the budget, they provide us an additional 6.7 COLA. So that was not included on my July 1st. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the numbers going forward. But as you can see, just here, I'm comparing the last year's COLA and looking into the additional COLA and the COLA that we had before. It does look like we're getting a huge COLA of 13.26%. Now, I know it looks like a huge percentage, but I'll talk about more about the numbers. The reason why the state is doing this, as you know, is because most of the districts in California are on decline enrollment, more than 90%. So everyone is struggling with the way that we are getting funded. As you remember, we're getting funded on ADA harmless on prior years, and right now this year we're gonna get funded on the average of the last 3 years. So a lot of districts are struggling with this. So the reason why the state is doing this is because they know that we need the funding. The cost is increasing a lot. Special ed is increasing. CalPERS, CalSTRS is increasing. Health benefits, it's increasing. Everything is just going up, and definitely we need help with that. So that's why the state is doing that. So I'll go ahead and move to the next slide so we can take a look at the numbers. So when I talk about the COLA, the most affected is the LCFF revenue. So as you know, the LCFF revenue, it comes from our unrestricted general fund. So comparing to last year to this year, yeah, we're gonna see an increase. But if you look at the 2023-24, we're not getting another big percent on COLA. So it is gonna be a decrease in revenue because the COLA is less, and also because we are very conservative on our approach to district enrollment and ADA as well. And as you know, we're still getting funded on ADA, so we have to be careful with that. And I'll go ahead and
really,
move
Rosa,
to
can you let Cindy know what ADA is?
yeah, average daily attendance. So the districts get funded not on the number of students that are enrolled, but the days that the student come to class. So if a student doesn't come to class, then we don't get funded for that. So that's how we get funded. So yeah, we're struggling because of COVID, and we're trying to get attendance back, and that's affecting not only our district, but this is everywhere, statewide. Everyone is going through the same issue. And I don't know if you remember, last year when I was doing this presentation, we were talking about ADA cliff, because it was going to be the last year that we're going to get that waiver to get funded. And it was going to look like this, my graph. And it's so interesting how now it's looking like that, because the state is trying to help us as well. Right. So we're going into, so this is the Fund 01. I do want to mention that this is putting together the unrestricted Fund 01 and the restricted Fund 01. When you look at the big report, you're going to be able to see the difference on those two. But I usually come here and put them together. As you know, we're going through a shift of funding. Before, we used to get more LCFF funding, more unrestricted. Now, with the spreadsheet that I provided, these are the new grants. But even with this one, we still have our Title I or Title II or Title III, all the ongoing funds, restricted funds that we used to get. Our funding is shifting now because we're getting a lot of the one-time funds that have restrictions. They're not unrestricted. We can only spend it on what the state is providing, the guidelines. Most of them need plans that they need to get adopted and we need to follow. And there's timelines that we need to follow as well. I talk about how some of the grants we get the full amount, and whatever we don't spend, it's part of the ending fund balance, and some of the other grants are based on reimbursement. So that makes a huge difference, because you have to be careful how you're budgeting on the next years to come. Either you're getting the full grant now, or you're going to get reimbursed. You have to budget by pieces, your revenues and your expenses as well. So I know sometimes you might have a question, well, which grant is which? So on the spreadsheet, I did put next to the fund and the resource, I put a letter U or an F. So the ones that have the F, that means that those are allowed to have an ending fund balance, meaning that if we don't spend all the funds, are going to be part of our ending fund balance. And the ones that have a U means that we're getting those grants based on reimbursement, meaning if we don't spend the funds, we don't get the money until we spend it. And since we have years to come, we can spend it next year. We don't spend those funds this year. Mm-hmm. Okay, so just going on the revenue side, the big change here is the LCFF. So the $2 million extra. So what I usually do, I put the last budget report that it was board approved, so that was the July 1st, and now I'm comparing that to the budget that I have today. So the big difference here is the LCFF funding. Like I said, we are getting that 6.7% increase. So that reflected with the October count on enrollment for our district, it comes to an increase of $2 million. We're also getting other state income. As you can see, it's a $7.9 million. Now, this is why it's so important to understand these one-time grants. we're getting 2 grants. These are one-time grants that we get to spend on the next 4 to 5 years. One is for $2 million on the arts, music, and instructional materials block grant. And then we're getting another one for $5.6 million for learning recovery. And that one as well, we can carry that over the years. So the reason why I'm budgeting the whole amount is because these 2 grants are allowed to have an ending fund balance. So we get to budget all the revenue here. Whatever we don't spend, it's going to be part of our ending balance and carry over to the next following years. But looking at the multi-year projection, you're going to see a decrease on revenue because we already acknowledge that we're getting all the money this year. And other local income, the state is giving us a little bit more funding on special ed because increases are just so much, not only for our district, also everywhere, just everywhere in the state. Everyone's struggling with that. We're not getting enough funds for special ed. The number of students are increasing and the number of the needs are increasing as well. So that's something huge, not only for our district, but everywhere statewide. And then on salaries and benefits, as you can see, there's also an increase. When I was doing the July 1st budget, that was back in May, we were already settled with certificated union. We were still pending on classified, confidential, and management, which was not budgeted. And now that we are done with that, everything is included here, including the item that you just approved. Also, our books and supplies are increasing because of the one-time funds. And other services are increasing because, everything is just going up. COLA is up this year, so contract services are increasing, paper, supplies, everything is just going up. Part of that $2.5 million is $1.5 million that is just coming for special ed increased services. So the district is already working, as you can see on one of the board items, on working that with the union to make sure that some of those sped paras are getting paid better salaries to attract employees and reduce the cost. So we're already working towards that, hoping the next year those services hopefully can be reduced. Capital outlay, that's pretty much for the school bus that we are budgeting that was board approved as well. Now, something to highlight here is the $4.5 million. As you remember, when we were closing the books last year, we did set aside, or we do have a board resolution for the committed funds. We set aside $1.5 million for land acquisition for the Esobrana. We also set aside $1.5 million for the Gavilan View construction project and $1.5 million for the John Gutierrez locker room project. So at this time of the year, we're going to go ahead and move those funds to the correct fund, which is capital outlay and construction. So what we're doing here is just taking the money from the ending fund balance and moving those funds to the correct fund that is for construction. So just looking at the multi-year projection that is also included on your report, this is how it's looking right now. We're having a deficit of $371,421, and looking at the 2 years out, we also projecting a deficit spending. The main reason for that, as you can see, is because of the drop in revenue, as you can see on the top line. So we are getting less revenue. Our expenses are also decreasing because we're not going to have those one-time funds, so I make sure to decrease that. But remember that it's also increasing because we have a step in column and benefits are going up, stirs and pairs and all the things. So at the same time as it's going down, it's going up, but we're still projecting a deficit spending on that. And again, this is a budget, this is a living item. So we're gonna wait for more information in January and see what the state is gonna project for us in regards to funding and the COLA, and see if maybe they can provide more support for special ed grants. So it's probably gonna change as we move forward.
And then quick question on that. Part of that also is if we get revenue, for example, 2022, 2023, and then we spend it 2023, 24, that's our deficit spending as well, right? Because we already have the money that we got and we're spending it later.
Right. So we have those two grants that we received. However, we haven't done the plan yet, so the expenditures are not budgeted there.
Okay, so the deficit spending could potentially be higher, but also depends what the state gives us as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
I share that concern, but my other two concerns is the fact that, most people are projecting a recession coming up, and our revenues are directly tied to state income. And so, that's concerning. And the other part that's concerning me is that the CalPERS and CalSTRS contribution rate, they're going up 3% from 2019 to 23 and 2022 to 25%, that's a fixed cost. Our variable is the income coming in.
Yeah.
And so I think we can to a certain extent our expenditures, but that revenue is consistently driving me crazy because, it's hard to make projections.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for mentioning that. I was on a conference maybe 3 weeks ago. They were talking about a possible recession coming up on 2023, as well as you see all this funding coming from the state, but they were also concerned to see if the state was going to be able to support all these increases, not having that much funding or not being able to afford what they had already promised. So just something to keep in mind. I'm just passing on the message. But yeah, it's something that they're talking about. And I also think about, before COVID, how it used to be, right? That districts were on increased enrollment, and we used to have the LCFF unrestricted, and then in expenses were going up. So we had revenue slightly going up. We had enrollment slightly going up. And of course, expenses, because the stepping column going up. This year, we have revenue going up, down, up, down, not consistent at all. We have to do the same with expenses because we don't have those grants on the following year. So it's going up, down. So if you have a hard time understanding the budget, like I totally understand, it is because of this one-time funds that are pretty much different rules, different regulations. It can get very challenging. And that's why it's so important just to keep an eye on it and make sure that we are on it, especially on the expiration dates, and that we're focusing on the ones that are expiring first and taking it kind of slow, but making sure that we're spending what we need to. All right, so this is also part of the MYP. This is what the county and the state is looking at, making sure that we are meeting our minimum reserve, which is 3%. However, we do have that board resolution for a 17%. So as you can see on the current year and the next year, we're going to be able to do that, the 17%. But on the third year, due to the deficit spending, we are on that 8%. So again, this might change. We're also taking a look at this and trying to see where we can have some savings within our budget as well to help out. This is part of the ending fund balance. We do have that 17%. So this is the unrestricted. It is on page 2 on the Fund 01. We keep it pretty consistent, but we want to make sure we put some money aside for the increases on special ed. As you can see, they're going up significantly. Those increases for SRUSD, and also we have those one-time funds that are going to be ending. So we're trying to put some money aside. So when those end, we have like a slow process of moving and reducing those expenses. And it's not just like, okay, we're done. Sometimes we have costs that we have to provide and slowly cutting those costs as well.
I have a question on the increases on STRS and PERS. Just refresh my memory, is that an account where we set up that it's almost put aside as a cushion for us in case there's expense? So that kind of it keeps rolling over that same amount,
right? Kind
of almost like a reserve in extent, but for that item specifically.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so like if we ever find ourselves in a tight position, obviously we don't keep rolling that into it.
Right.
Okay.
And this is not, this is a sign There is a different way that we can do it, which is committed. That's when we bring the board resolution. So as we, like I said, the budget is a living item. So as we move forward, when I bring the next budget report, if our ending fund balance gets reduced a little bit more, maybe we can reduce some in there. If we have more, we can add it. So it's pretty flexible. But we try to set those aside because we know those expenses are coming up. And if we want to do something more official, we would have to do like a board resolution. It's just for best practice and my recommendation as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is the Fund A, this is ASV. You've seen those presentations from the students. They do field trips, they get donations, they do a lot of fun stuff. So what I did this time, I did my projection based on last year's actuals, and that's what you have there on the first interim. And you can see the difference there from the July 1st. I was off, and that's because we have a different financial system with the ASB. It can really change because they have a lot of activities, and it's just depending how much fundraising they do, how much they spend as well. So it can be pretty changing constantly. This is a child development fund. As you remember now, MCOE is, we're subcontracting with MCOE, and now they're overseeing the preschool. What I have there is current expenses that we had for salaries and benefits and books and supplies through September. And when they took over, I budgeted everything on other services, which is the contract services that now we're going to pass on those funds to them. That is the projection as of today. Last year, they were getting funded based on reimbursement. So pretty much they would get the grant, and if they spend everything, they get all the money. This year is different. This year, they're going to get funded on ADA. So I know their contract went a little bit higher, close to the $2 million. I am keeping a conservative approach because I know everyone's struggling with attendance. So I don't anticipate them to get the $2 million, but we're going to bring more information to you as we move forward. This is the cafeteria. So the big change here is the increase in revenue, as I'm sure Chuck shared with you guys, now with the universal meal that we provide. And we were doing this since before this. We have to provide free meals for everyone. But now the state is giving us additional funding for that. So that's actually good for our districts because we were already doing that. So it's just extra funding, as you can see that. And then the increases on salaries and benefits are mainly due because of the AB 1200 and negotiations.
I know that a form that I think Summer was helping Chuck get. What form was that called? That was the.
Yeah, so that is actually the income form, and that was for purposes of LCFF funding.
Okay.
So I am very excited about it because that's going to bring more revenue for LCFF funding, which is ongoing revenue. We decided to do this year, and I thank Summer so much and her team because they did a great job. I mean, they were making calls and putting the extra time, and everyone worked together to bring those numbers up and trying to get as many forms as we can. We did collect a lot of forms. We're not going to get certified through the state until January. So once we get certified through the state by January with our forms and everything is calculated in CalPATS, I'll bring that to you with the dollar amount. So I'm really looking forward and very excited for that. This is for our deferred maintenance fund. There hasn't been a lot of changes there. This is pretty much for the rekeying of the district. The project is now finalized, but we still there's not new projects or anything, so we're still paying some invoices that are pending. And there's not much activity here other than what we budgeted at the beginning of the year. This is our capital facilities fund. This is where we get our developer fees. So we are using those funds for contract services with West Pacific Plan fees. We're planning to use all the funds. We want to make sure we keep that separate from the general fund for transparency purposes. So that's what we have. If we get more funding, we're going to go ahead and keep using this fund as much as we can. But this projection is based as our current cash that we have on the district for those developer fees. And this is our facility fund. So this is where we have budgeted some of the equipment that we still have pending. Actually, we did receive that equipment for Gavilan View, but the budget's still there. We also have set aside for land acquisition to $0.5 million. And also what I want to highlight is that transfer in that I talk about for $1.5 million. That was part of the any fund balance from the resolution land acquisition that I talk about from the $4.5 million. So you see the transfer in just for transparency purposes. We're, like I mentioned, we're moving it out of the general fund, putting it in here. So when we are ready to purchase the land, we have the funds that we need. In capital outlay, again, this is pretty much, there's no activity in this fund, but you can see the transfer in again from the general fund. That is the $3 million. It is the $1.5 million for GV construction project and the other $1.5 million for John Gutierrez locker room project as well. So we are putting that in a separate fund. And then you're pretty familiar with the forms. Form A is for the District 88, and then you can see the transfers on Form SIAI, which I talk about, which is all the for land acquisition, GV project, and the John Gutierrez, and multi-year projection. The TRC form, it's completely clean. There's no errors on it or nothing that we need to be concerned. That pretty much summarizes more than 100 pages report. I really focus and try to highlight the most important information, but if you have any questions about it, please feel free to ask any questions that you can think of.
Does the board have any questions or comments regarding the presentation?
Motion to approve.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Patel?
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Alvariano?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you, Rosa. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to 10.4, approval of purchase of new van for Family Resource Center.
Yes, that's my, I just want to reiterate that Rosa just kind of confirmed that special ed has grown. And with that, the van that was dedicated to Family Resource Center never got to the Family Resource Center. It stopped at special ed. So now I owe Family Resource Center a van. And this is the permission and the approval to go ahead and get that van for Family Resource Center.
Okay, and what's the turn time right now with COVID? It got better or?
Honestly, I've been working through the Sourcewell. It's a cooperative way of getting goods and services and equipment. We're looking at probably March.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's motion to approve.
The only requirement was, so the only request that was made, it was like automatic doors and power steering. Not too much to ask for, but yeah, it should be in March.
I motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Patel?
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, item 10.5, approval of disposal of surplus obsolete materials and equipment.
Yes, that's my agenda item also. As from the previous time that we did the surplus, we continue to clean up a lot of the stuff. And unfortunately, yes, we're going to have to get rid of our trash truck. As you know, in previous years, we would collect our own trash and not use waste management. Well, guess what? We graduated. Now we were using waste management in that effort. So it's about time to get rid of that.
And the baby 350 base truck.
Yes. we were really considering on probably cutting off the top because it leaks so much on the inside of the range.
Make convertible, no, didn't work. Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel, Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, and also I want to entertain, I know in here it kind of mentions potential blanket authorization. So that way you wouldn't have to, you still keep track of pretty much whatever you dispose and just not bring an agenda item.
Yes.
Is the board open to that? I'm open to it. I think it's a good, yeah.
I'm looking to it. I mean, do we want to set a dollar amount or disposal value or just anything?
I think, well, at least for me, but we can discuss it as a board, as long as
Okay with
Victor currently is our MOT, we can always rescind it if we get somebody else, but I trust his judgment for that stuff, but.
I concur.
Okay, so if you can put that on a future agenda item for that.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, item 10.6, approval of a replacement of obsolete material and equipment using the national cooperative contracts.
Yes, again, that's my item. And basically what we deal with is through these cooperative contracts, it's basically going to the manufacturer. For example, the van that we're getting from Dodge, it's straight from Dodge with a price cut for public entities, government entities and stuff like that. And it's state and federal. So we could actually just hop on that same boat, get the same pricing. However, unfortunately, the manufacturing has kind of slowed down, but they are filling in most of the commercial orders at this point in time. So hopefully we bounce back, we get stuff a little bit easier. And again, we could actually cut the time in half in having to purchase, for example, like the shade structures. The shade structures, we went through the cooperative Omnia contract, and it's already being built. We didn't have to spend a month and a half trying to put it out to bid for a manufacturer to complete it and going to DSA, right? It already has a pre-approved contract with DSA, a pre-approved contract with the state entity. So it just speeded it up. So we're hoping to have everything done this summer. So it's a easier way and a little bit more aggressive on the timeline.
I was very impressed at the speed. I totally thought my request would take 3 years, based on what I was thinking. But with that motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Wholeheartedly, aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Also kind of on a side note, as we're working on the PLA agreement a little bit. Is there like a carve out for this a little bit in case?
The provisions that have been added onto the contract basically kind of say that we could still purchase, like, for example, the building.
Mhm.
It's pre-manufactured, it's all pre-DSA. It benefits us on the pricing, number one. Number two, basically the PLA would actually take over from anything from the outside of this building. Civil work, electrical work, data communications, all that stuff goes into the PLA. Also, the one thing that we're kind of forecasting of the decision from the AG, from the Attorney General, is the foundation.
Mhm.
So we are looking at doing concrete perimeter pier foundations solely because we want them to last. The moment frame building will actually last twice as much, probably even 3 times as more. So doing it right this time at grade level, it's a win-win situation for us. So I think PLA is in place. And then if we could still use the piggyback for the acquisition of buildings.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying.
There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. You got electrical, you got to pull plumbing, go main lines, the foundation. It's, there's a lot of work still left. So,
okay,
I think it's great.
Okay, moving on to 11.1, approval of tentative agreement between CSEA, Chapter 503 in the Santa Rita Union School District for 2022-2023 negotiations.
Thank you. This item, 11.2 and 11.3, are all tied to the public disclosure AB 1200 that you approved under ROSA's items earlier this evening. So this first one is the approval of the tentative agreement. Concluding our 22-23 negotiations, we had partially finished in the spring and brought some items to you during the summer and then resumed our negotiations in the fall, and this is the final product.
Okay, and thank you for everybody, including CSA and the staff, for the positive working relationship we have to kind of reach these agreements. I know a lot of times districts are negotiating in the past as opposed to currently or in the future. So can I get a motion to approve?
So motioned.
Okay, second please.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, and 11.2, seems we're on the same item. Can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, congratulations. Another one passed. Okay, item 11.3, approval of MOU between CSEA Chapter 503 and Santa Rita Union School District to include yard duty supervisors in the CSEA unit.
About time.
Yeah, yard duties have not been part of the unit, but CSEA and the district are in agreement that we would like them to be included. And so we have outlined the terms of that agreement, and we'll be moving forward with bringing them in.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
So motioned.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 11.4, approval of a side letter between SRTA and the Santa Rita Union School District to revise athletic stipends.
Thank you. In our negotiations for this year with SRTA, we included stipends in the contract for the first time. As we are working through our first year of that appendix, we have noticed some things that need to be revised in order to match the need for coaches. And so this is essentially adding the allowance so that we can have additional coaches for certain sports and pay those coaches stipends.
Okay, great.
As a high school coach, I'm wholeheartedly in favor of this. It's hard to get people out there. It's many, many hours dedicated with our students, improving their lives. So I'm very happy staff brought this forward.
Okay. Your motion?
So motion.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, 11.5, approval of position control maintenance closure positions.
Thank you. Rosa and I, with our departments, work closely together to manage position control within our payroll and employee management system. There have been some updates to staffing this year, primarily due to subgranting the preschool to MCOE. So we have positions in the books that we don't intend to fill. And for that purpose, the clean bookkeeping approach to that is to close those positions. And should we need them in the future, bring them back for your approval.
Okay, so pretty much housekeeping. Yeah, housekeeping. Okay.
Housekeeping.
Yeah. Can I get a motion to approve?
So motion.
Okay, second, please.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, 11.6, approval of position control maintenance splitting of positions.
Additionally, as far as the housekeeping goes, our yard duty supervisor positions were at one point merged so that multiple people fill a specific amount of FTE under one position, because they were all on the same placement on the salary schedule and they did not move. Now that individuals need to be placed independently on the salary schedule because they'll move steps and longevity will come into play. Each person needs to hold their own position control number. So we need to break apart those position control numbers and add additional positions as noted in this item in order to do that effectively.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, 11.7, approval of new one full-time employee for bus driver, instructor, and equipment technician position.
Within the item 11.2 with the job descriptions and salary ranges, we have created a new position in the district and job description for a bus driver instructor and equipment technician. We currently contract our bus driver instruction through Salinas Union High School District, but now have our own person certified within our district to take on that work. And so by opening this FTE, we can interview and appoint a qualified person within our district.
Okay, and I'm sure it's cost effective to do it that way versus
Definitely.
contracting out.
Gives us an advantage because a lot of the new hires that we're getting who require a bus driver license don't come with it, but we give them a 6-month time period to earn that. So if we can coordinate our own training, it will make it a lot faster.
Making it in-house.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, item 11.8, this is an informational item. Information regarding the annual disclosure of compliance relating to workers' compensation.
Thank you. Ed Code requires that annually we disclose our financial status for workers' compensation. We are part of a JPA, MIRMA, and attached is the disclosure stating that we are in full compliance without making any excess contributions.
Okay, so this is just an informational item unless the board has any questions or comments regarding it? No? Okay. Moving on to 12.1, approval of Salient Aid Behavioral Technician Support.
Perfect. Thank you. This is my board item. We've seen a few of these, right? So this is the contract that we've been utilizing. So this is just adding an additional behavior technician as well as an instructional aid paraprofessional to support some of our special day classrooms or our SDC classrooms. So it's just additional support, which is really filling in for some of the vacancies that we currently have, which have a plan and are combating.
Okay. You get a motion to approve?
I actually have a question on this.
Sure, yeah.
So with the dollar amount there, what are we looking at with getting additional help in there? Like, are we talking about getting more behavioral aids? How many are we talking about? Or
Yeah, great question. So that includes 2 physical people, 1 behavior technician, a registered behavior technician, as well as 1 paraprofessional. And that's for the rest of the school year, full time.
Okay, any other questions? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Yeah, 13.1, approval of contract with Care Solace.
So you saw the presentation. So this is the contract associated with that presentation. Again, similarly, this amount is for the remainder of this year, includes all of our students, our staff, the families of our students, and the families of our staff as well are all included under this contract.
Okay, perfect. And can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Roll call, please. Sorry, second. It's late already.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, 15.1, discussion and recommend MCSBA Excellence in Education Award nominations.
Sarah asked me to speak on that one. We actually made that recommendation, if you remember, previously for Centro Binacional, and we're going to move forward with that recommendation. So she said it's not needed.
We nominate your top 3 selections. So if there are 2 others that you would also like to add to the nomination,
Is there any?
submit our top 3.
What were the top three that you guys nominated?
We only have one so far, right?
Oh,
There was a list that came out, so you could use that list and add to it. So we added Centro Binacional to that list because they weren't part of that.
oh, so we haven't chosen any of the top three?
We chose Centro Binacional and I've already moved that forward to MCOE.
Okay. Okay, so we don't need to take action then, right?
No.
Two more if you wanted
Okay.
to add, or
So
you
sh-
can just stop it.
So pretty much we've nominated one, and we have the option if we want to nominate two more, if the board so chooses to, or we can just nominate the one we had already done before. So I don't know what the board thinks.
Just nominate the one that we have already listed. I mean, I don't know anybody else, or,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot, but I mean, to choose right now, I mean, it's like,
Do you want me to go through them?
oh no, is there a lot of them?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I just have a question. So if we nominate two additional, it's basically, you guys feel strong with the Centro. So basically, if we nominate just them, then
It adds them to this list. So all of these are included and this adds them to that list as well.
Okay, so we would be adding more to the list,
Two more.
or
So when we brought it to the board previously, we were requesting, Monterey County asked us, is there anyone that your board would like to add to this list for districts to choose from? And so we voted to add Centro Binacional to this list. So from this list, the board may nominate up to three. And then it will, of course, go through the county process for majority wins. So our previous vote was to add them to Monterey County's list that they were sending out to gather 3 nominations from each district.
okay, so Centro would be one.
Centro
list
would be one.
One, so definitely want to nominate them. And so we can just choose to nominate just them unless the board has one other agency they want to, or we can, yeah. Yeah.
I just have worked with them in the past, and the fact that they provide technology training, free computers or Chromebooks throughout the county. Especially for those in need. Technology is vital necessity, which is out of reach for some of our constituents, especially the families. So, I would maybe ask the board to consider that one, and also Alice Fine Arts. Those are two.
myself, I think I would like us to consider the Monterey County Rape Crisis Center.
Okay. So why don't we do, just to kind of get board consensus, Centro Binacional, the Rape Crisis Center, and do you want to narrow it down to one, Mr. Patel?
Yeah, what's the exact term?
Those fishes and computers.
Okay, so we'll do the motion then to nominate those 3 then.
Okay.
Okay, can I get a second?
A second.
Okay, I made the motion, yeah, okay, and then roll call?
Ms. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Patel? Ms. Ariano?
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Okay. 16.1, our next regular boarding will be January 11th, 2023. Do we have any suggested future board items from the board?
I know we talked about looking at the sub rates. We can probably look at that at some point in the future. And I would like to maybe look at adding itinerary subs, full time in the future as well. I mean, the idea of being short staffed, and if we can't get enough subs, then maybe we can have permanent increase in permanent subs that we have that we can deploy to whatever sites are needed because they'll be on full time.
Isn't that what a super sub would be considered already?
Itinerary?
I think we have, yeah.
Yeah, we have 2 on each site this year.
In that case, I would like to see if that number is
Actually increase.
yeah.
Okay.
If it's
That's
effective,
definitely
it's not needed. Yeah. Just those 2 things.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn? That's 8:47.
Look at this, Mr. President. 8:47, your efficiency skills are lacking. I'm just gonna say that right now. Having said that, motion to adjourn.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
I still love you though.
Okay, thank
Ms.
you.
Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, happy holidays and happy new year, everyone.